voice echoed off the walls of the small room. Credence flinched. Taking a moment to make sure he wouldn't be caught, he pressed his eye back to the keyhole. Inside the bedroom were his mother, father, the township priest, whom he'd been instructed to call father as well, and two fat ladies who were something called midwives. The priest was glowering at Credence's mother. She was exhausted after her labor and could do nothing except look at him with frightened eyes. Credence wasn't exactly sure why the priest was yelling at her or why she was crying. He wanted desperately to run into the room and hug his mother, but he didn't dare. Ages ago, when the fat midwives had arrived and helped his moaning mother into bed, his father had grabbed him by the shoulders and told him, "Stay put." So he had. Through 4 hours of horrid screaming, he waited outside the door, frightened but curious. The house was silent, save the joint wailing of the newborns and the priest. "Sinner, blasphemous wench," the priest shrieked, waving his Bible this way and that. "My wife is no such thing," Credence's father roared. The priest rounded on him. "Really? Explain that monstrosity then." The priest pointed at the bundle in one of the midwives' arms. A red, squealing, contorted blob squirmed inside the blankets. The two twin girls were conjoined. Between them, they shared 2 arms, a torso, and 4 legs. They cried pitifully, life already bringing them pain so fresh into their existence. When Credence's father said nothing, the priest grinned in triumph. He pointed at Credence's mother again. "You've had relations with an incubus, woman. In the name of the Lord, you will be stoned for your sins." Credence gasped. He knew, even at 7 years old, what stoning was. How could his mother have done something to deserve that? He began to cry quietly, torn between wanting his mother and obeying his father. Credence jumped at the sudden loud noise from the front door. It seemed to shake the entire house. The adults on the other side of the bedroom door were immediately silent. Credence swore that the blood rushing past his ears had never been so loud. He was almost thrown to the floor as the door he was leaning against opened. His father stepped out into the hallway, listening. Inside the bedroom, the priest began to pray quietly. The knocking repeated, more insistent this time. Credence watched as his father walked down the hallway to the stairs and disappeared down them. Moments later, he heard the front door open and then shut, as if his father had let someone inside. Odd. They weren't expecting guests. "Credence, come here," his mother appealed to him. But Credence could not move. He spotted something climbing up the stairs and suddenly felt like the air around him had turned to glass. If he moved, he could cut himself. What Credence saw next plagued his dreams for weeks after. A lithe creature came into view. Credence couldn't tell if it was a man or a lady. The thing barely looked human. It was thin, downright skeletal in certain places. Its hair was long, black, and greasy. Its skin, or the little that could be seen of it, was ashen grey, like a corpse. It was clad in a white shirt and dark slacks. Despite the circumstances, Credence thought it looked very fancy. Its arms were covered in white bandages, its fingernails long and black, like talons, and its eyes were covered by black goggles. The thing stalked toward Credence. It bent its head sideways, as if confused by his presence. Credence shifted under its gaze, his stomach dropping straight through the floor. He was certain that this monster was going to do something terrible. But then, the thing was moving away from him and into the bedroom. The priest freaked as it entered. "Oh, you demonic pest." Without so much as turning its head, the thing grabbed the priest by the face and flung him across the room as if he weighed as much as his Bible. He collided hard with the wall, producing a very satisfying thump before slumping to the floor. The unruly distraction seemingly out of its way, the creature turned to the midwives, who were now trembling with fear. It moved toward them slowly, but with purpose. It reached for the twin girls, who had become considerably quieter since it had entered the room. Heart in his throat, Credence startled himself by finding his voice. "Hey." The creature stopped, turning its head to face Credence as if to say, "Yes." "Will you hurt us?" The creature shook its head, and Credence wondered for a split second how the damn thing understood him at all. He swallowed hard, choking out another question. Are you really a demon?" This time, the creature merely shrugged, turned its attention back to the babies, reaching for them and gently pulling them out of the arms of the stunned midwife. It pulled them to its chest with surprising tenderness, a small smile forming on its lips as it rocked the twins gently back and forth. Credence half expected the thing to start cooing at them. After rocking the babies a few moments more, the creature gently placed them on the bed. Then it did something Credence thought was very strange. It pulled out a coiled tape measure from its breast pocket and measured the baby's length and width. Once that was done, the creature gently picked up the twins again, depositing them with care in the arms of his mother. Then it strode from the room, through the hall, back down the stairs. The front door shut with a bang. As soon as he was sure it was gone, Credence ran full tilt into the arms of his mother. Hot, fat tears streamed down his cheeks as he frantically demanded to know what had just happened. His mother held him tightly and sighed. "That was the Undertaker." "The what?" "Undertaker. It's, a spirit of some kind that lurks in our town." "It's a death omen," said Credence's father as he reappeared through the doorway. "It comes to a house and measures someone for a coffin. Then it leaves and comes back again when the coffin is done. Usually the poor sod is already gone by then." Credence couldn't believe what he was hearing. "So, the babies?" His father nodded solemnly, and his mother began to weep. The twins lived for 2 days more, every second of it painful. It was almost a relief to everyone in the house when they took their last shaky breath. At the very least, the babies weren't suffering anymore. After their passing, Credence stayed home to comfort his mother while his father went to announce the death to the priest. The priest had been adamant that the twins were still a Cambien, but had held off on stoning Credence's mother. Apparently being flung into a wall does wonders for judgment. His father hadn't been gone 10 minutes when that same knock from a few days before echoed through the house. Credence got up and tiptoed to the front door. His father had told him, "When the Undertaker knocks, you best answer." And he took that advice to heart. People who didn't answer the door made the Undertaker angry, and that wasn't ideal. He opened the door, and sure enough, the Undertaker was waiting on the other side. Under its arm, it held a very tiny coffin. It extended the sad little pine box to Credence, who took it without a word, promptly shut the door. And that wasn't the last time Credence saw the Undertaker. Occasionally, he saw it knocking on the door of some unfortunate person's home. Sometimes it had a coffin, sometimes it didn't. It came back to his own house, twice. Once to measure his dying grandmother, and once to measure his older brother who'd caught rheumatic fever. As the years went by, people began to desert the tiny town. Credence saw less and less of the undertaker. When he finally moved away from the town, he hadn't seen it in almost 3 years. He was glad to be rid of the sinister omen, but a small part of him was upset, as if he was homesick for a place fraught with bad memories. So he began to tell the tale of the undertaker to his nieces and nephews, and eventually to his own children. The story continued down the line for generations, eventually lending itself to my tender ears. And who am I? Well,